Voices of the Lost Authors. If Natsume Sōseki spoke about digital loneliness, a solitude mistaken for connection. A fictional monologue in the voice of Natsume Sōseki, confronting digital loneliness not as novelty, but as a predictable consequence of modernity. It has long been my observation that the individual, having divorced himself from all traditional bonds under the flag of progress, must necessarily find himself alone. That the 21st century should dress this condition in LED light and name it digital loneliness seems to me neither ironic nor tragic, but merely consistent. We, who once feared ostracism from the village, now fear silence from the timeline. We crave affirmation from what is essentially an echo chamber, and confuse that with community. I find it curious, though not surprising, that man, having liberated himself from the constraints of hierarchy, should now suffer from the absence of constraint altogether. The modern man sits at his desk, tapping upon a glass panel. He types not letters but gestures, abbreviated, cosmetic, endlessly repeated. He asks not to be understood, but to be seen. Or rather, to be seen liking something, reacting to something, participating in something. His selfhood is parasitic upon the opinions of others, none of whom he knows. That a human being might come to prefer likes over conversation, or visibility over intimacy, is less a moral failing than an epistemological confusion. He no longer knows how to know himself, and without a coherent self, he turns to performance. But where there is only performance, there can be no confession, and where there is no confession, there is no relief, only a deeper exhaustion. This, I believe, is the nature of the loneliness to which we now give the name digital. It is not new. The Western concept of the autonomous self, liberated from feudalism, unmoored from religion, and enthroned in its own liberty, has always been, at heart, a lonely one. I have said before that Japan adopted modernity at a pace too rapid for digestion. But the digestion has not stopped. Even now, we continue to swallow new forms of alienation in the hope they might yield some nutrient of relevance. The telephone once promised to connect. The internet promised to unite. Social media now promises to represent. What it delivers is mediation. That is to say, the substitution of presence with symbol. And because the symbol is so persistent, we come to forget what presence ever meant. Our conversations are no longer dialogues. They are exhibitions, polished, selected, published. No longer do we write letters. We tweet. No longer do we reflect. We react. Speed has overtaken substance, and in the rush, something essential is always left behind. It is not merely that man is alone. He is alone while being watched, alone while performing, alone while connected. This is the loneliness of the actor on a brightly lit stage, applauded by an audience that does not exist. There was a time when solitude was a condition of introspection. Now, it is the price of participation. The self must be amputated into fragments to fit the form of the feed. And when these fragments are consumed, liked, commented upon, reposted, the man feels momentarily visible and profoundly unseen. He tries again. We used to write to remember, now we post to forget. And yet, I am not altogether despairing, for it remains possible, even now, for a man to turn away from the glare, to sit, if only for a moment, with his unperformed thoughts. If one can endure the silence long enough, it begins to speak. There is a world beyond the glow of the screen, beyond the curated selves and the performative gestures. It is not louder. It is quieter. And because it is quieter, it might, with effort, be true. If I am to offer any conclusion, it is this. Digital loneliness is not a malfunction. It is the mirror of a world where presence has been replaced by representation. To be less lonely, one must first learn to be alone, not publicly, but truly. Not with an audience, but with oneself. Such a thing, I am told, is now called madness. I should prefer to call it literature. About the author Natsume Sōseki, 1867–1916, was a seminal Japanese novelist and scholar, renowned for his profound explorations of individual identity, cultural dislocation, and the psychological burdens of modernity. His works, such as Kokoro, Senshiro, and I Am a Cat, blend subtle irony, philosophical reflection, and literary experimentation. As one of Japan's earliest critics of modernization's spiritual cost, Sōseki articulated the tensions between East and West, tradition and innovation. His legacy remains foundational in both Japanese literature and intellectual history,